and welcome back to Area 51 and a half, where we talk about all things science fiction, fantasy, horror, and pop culture. I am your host, Spooky Uncle John. With me, as always, is my co-host and producer,
Snyderman501, Nick Snyder.
And our techno mage,
Wren, a.k.a. Pyre Lily.
We have got a really fun show for you today.
I'm excited.
Yes, so am I. This is a nice topic for me. But before we do that, I have an announcement to make for you guys. I bought some real estate.
Ooh,
oh no!
How?
Yeah. Right. I actually just put a small down payment on it because it was an opportunity that I needed to get, that I had to get. I didn't want it to go to anybody else, so I'm like, yes, I will do this.
Okay.
Yes. I have decided that I didn't want to live with my parents for time and all eternity.
Okay.
I have been looking after my parents. It's not like one of those things where he's like, get out of the basement, nerd. No, it's not one of those things. I mean, I had to look after my parents. They were elderly. Dad had dementia, was palliative, blah, blah, blah. Just better to be with them. But I don't want to live with them for time and all eternity. So 3 years ago, my dad passed away,
right,
as we know, during the pandemic. Not from the pandemic, but from his cancer. And so we were looking into their plots. And apparently at the end of the plots, there's a place where you can put an urn for cremation and all that kind of stuff. So didn't need my own plot. But I discovered that the plot next to my parents was available, so I bought the bachelor pad next to my parents.
Woo!
Yes, so you, my younger friends, will know where to put my corpse.
Nice.
Yay!
So, because somebody's going to have to look after that.
That is a cheery way to start the show.
I don't have children. It is a spooky Uncle John way to... I am pleased about this. I am so happy that I have this plot next to my parents because, you know, I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Not having children, you know, it's like... Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do with that. So it's like... it's nice to sort of get your affairs in order as you start to... I don't want to say age because apparently there is a portrait in the attic that is aging for me because my mother's personal support worker is like, I overheard her saying to my mother, oh my God, I thought he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Oh, the beard helps.
The beard does, yes. I have accidentally grown a beard. Now, it's funny. People say, how do you accidentally grow a beard? Well,
no, like, what did you do? Did you trip and fall on facial hair?
Yes, that's what I had glue on my face and I fell into a pile of
tar and feathers.
Fur. Tar and feathers, yes.
Oh,
no, this is how you accidentally grow a beard. You just get so busy that you just like, you do like the quick shower out the door, quick shower out the door. And I just got so busy that I'm like, oh, look, I've grown a beard. Because you just didn't have time to or forgot to shave.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
So I have accidentally grown a beard, which came in useful for Halloween. Not going to lie about that. And doing... the British pantomime that I'm doing, playing Fatherhood, Little Red Riding Hood, is the panto that I'm doing. It kind of comes in handy.
There you go.
But I'm telling you, when that play is done, it's coming off. Like everyone keeps saying, you look great with a beard. Don't get used to it. Don't get. I know you always have a beard, and I mean no disrespect to you or any of our bearded brethren. I hate having a beard.
There is a certain level of upkeep.
Yeah,
required, and yeah,
and I'm very, very kind of tactile in a way that I don't like feeling the food in the beard as I eat. And,
for me, it was getting used to laying on a pillow.
What?
Seriously, like when I first started growing a beard, like getting used to laying my head on a pillow, it felt odd. I got used to it, but it just felt odd against my face with the facial hair between my face and the pillow.
I have so many questions that I've never thought of before.
Yeah, I didn't experience that, but I mean, like, I find I'm constantly sort of stroking my beard, and it's very coarse, you know, and it's kind of...
Well, that's where the upkeep comes in.
It doesn't really itch, but I mean, like, I don't want to spend money on beard oil and beard balms and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't have it, for one thing. And the fact of the matter is I got to trim it practically daily anyway.
Oh, wow.
Well, because I don't like the scraggly hairs sticking out and all that kind of stuff, right? So anyway, don't get used to the beard. Having said that, it is time for Nick's Pop Culture Roundup.
And before we get into that, just a quick reminder on how you can get a hold of us. You can find us on TikTok, X, Threads, and Instagram at the Area 51H. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube by searching for Area 51.5. And of course, don't forget to check out our Patreon. So first things first, the strike is over.
Yay!
We hope everyone is receiving everything that they deserve and all that stuff. With all that, bunch of new movie news.
Yeah.
I, for one, have been enjoying the behind-the-scenes photos and videos.
Yes,
I have not been able to see.
All of the stuff that they couldn't share on social media is now flooding out, which is just wonderful.
But I'll tell you, the one good thing that came out of the strike was Ryan Reynolds' sarcasm, where he was talking about, he was looking forward to following his daughter, who was trick-or-treating as Barbie, yelling scab.
So, first things first, we got a trailer for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Now, the first thing I thought when I saw this trailer was, oh my god, this is going to be set up like an episode of the real Ghostbusters cartoon. And one of the actors, Kumail Nanjiani, who's in it, which is cool because I love him, he actually said that it is inspired by the real Ghostbusters. So I'm excited for that because I grew up on that. Like, legit, that was my Saturday morning cartoon jam.
Right.
So that'll be interesting for me. It's good to see that the original Ghostbusters are going to have a bigger role in this one. And it looks enjoyable, at the very least. It looks like it'll be a fun summer popcorn flick. Spring popcorn flick.
You have kind of blinders when it comes to Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't have the same reaction as you did. I looked at the trailer and I went, this looks so bloody stupid, I can't even imagine. I did enjoy the real Ghostbusters cartoon. I thought it was a very enjoyable cartoon in the late 80s, early 90s. But it's always that lament that I'm getting on our podcast. Give me something new.
Fair.
Afterlife was not that great, I didn't think. I mean, it took us forever to get the old gang in there, for one thing. It plodded along. The highlight of it really was Paul Rudd.
Yes.
So it's good to see that he's back in this, but it didn't do anything to excite me. And I don't feel like there's been a good Ghostbusters movie since the original. Even Ghostbusters 2, it was great. It was a nice follow-up. It's become pop culture iconography, but it's still not as strong as that original movie.
One thing I will say about the trailer for Frozen Empire is I do feel like they've got too many characters going on. Too many big characters.
I think it's a dumbass title, too.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it almost feels like when I saw it and I guess the big baddie, whoever that is, looked all frozen, immediately I'm hearing the Snow Miser's song in my head. It just, to me, looks silly. And that's okay from a comedy, but I don't know. I maybe I'll wind up loving it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But we'll just make a date right now. We'll all go see it.
Yes.
Nintendo has announced a live-action Legend of Zelda film, which that is tantalizing all on its own.
Is Tom Holland playing every character?
I hope so. Honestly, let's talk about this, because there's no cast announced yet. Hunter Schafer has mentioned from Euphoria has mentioned she would love to play Zelda, but when I think about Link, a live-action Link, Tom Holland's the first person that comes to mind. So I'm hoping so, but then again, Tom Holland has become kind of the de facto elf in my head, because when I read the Dritz novels, it's Tom Holland I imagine as Dritz. I know, but that's just me.
So Tom Holland is your de facto elf.
Yes.
I would really enjoy seeing a non-binary actor playing Link, because Link has kind of been genderless.
Well, and that's kind of the thing. Like, I would be okay with Hunter Schafer playing Link, because Hunter Schafer's trans.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of like Link is canonically a boy, but he's always been a little androgynous, but whatever.
This is the point in the podcast where the elder generation goes, I don't know what they're talking about. I'm just going to be quiet.
Hey, listen, you can say elder generation you want, but Robin Williams loved that stuff. He named his daughter after Zelda, okay?
Listen,
he was older than you.
I played the game, but I'm not, like, you guys are just like, whoa, all into it. Like, you know the facts, you know the figures. I played this thing on Game Boy, and then I had a girlfriend. And
I've actually never played Zelda.
You have lost a little credibility.
That's fine. I accept that.
All right, I'm just going to say this. Benedict Cumberbatch for Ganondorf. He's the main villain. That was directed at John, by the way. I think it would be a good choice.
As long as it looks really pretty, that's what matters.
Yeah, okay.
Listen, and you are absolutely correct, Wren. The end of the day, make a good movie.
Make it look really pretty and have Navi being annoying as...
And put some budget behind it. Put some budget behind it. As much as we kind of liked Dungeons and Dragons, you could see that it suffered from a certain production value budget. Put some budget behind it.
With the amount of money they made off, if they funnel up at least a chunk of the money that they made off of the Super Mario Brothers movie, they'll have a budget. So I'm excited for that. Deadpool 3.
Love me some Deadpool.
Yeah. Deadpool 3 has been officially reconfirmed by Ryan Reynolds with the help of Dogpool. So we are getting it. We are getting it in 2024. As far as I know, 2 Marvel movies have been announced for 2024. Confirmed. That's Deadpool, which is going to be an actual MCU film, and Venom 3. So we've got those coming. As far as... I don't know where Marvel's going. I'm a little bored with it. I think everybody is. But... like, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to Deadpool because as a true Canadian, Ryan Reynolds can do no wrong. That's true. But it's going to be the first R-rated MCU film, which will be interesting. We got Hugh Jackman. I mean, we've mentioned it before. We've got Hugh Jackman back. Yes! The Wolverine.
I wanted the funniest part to be the one curse word that was allowed in the movie, and Wolverine takes it from Deadpool, and Deadpool just loses his mind.
Listen, as long as they do that thing that people talked about on the internet where you just see Deadpool clicking on a file and moving it over into... that's what I want to see. I just want to see something like that. I enjoyed the Deadpool movies, but it's because of Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds does that sarcastic wit better than anybody. There needs to be some multiverse tomfoolery from Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Could there be some multi-universe Tom Hollandery? Can you give me something sharp?
No, sorry.
Oh, come on. Now, Deadpool in the comics is always riffing on Spider-Man. Like, it would be great. It would be great.
I'm sure there's going to be lots of jokes about Wolverine and Fox, or Wolverine with this and that, and he'll have no idea what he's talking about.
I am just so looking forward to watching Jackman and Reynolds go at each other. Like, I'm just looking forward to it.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm going opening night. I don't even care. I'm going.
Yeah. It'll be a wild movie. It will be absolutely wild. Now explain Dogpool to our listeners who may not know. Dogpool is a internet celebrity dog, a little chihuahua looking thing with his tongue hanging out that dresses up as Deadpool. There you go. And has it been confirmed that Dogpool's going to actually be in the movie? No, it has not, but I would love to see it. I mean, like, there's also, in the multiverse in the comic, there's all sorts of different versions of Deadpool. Yeah, there's different versions of all the characters. Yeah. So, I mean, we got Throg, the Froggy Thor. I love Frog Bruce Thor. Bananas is the Hulk. And so Spider-Ham, of course. The amazing Spider-Ham, I'll have you say.
Sorry.
So it would stand to reason that, in fact, there would be a Dogpool, perhaps. Yeah, of course there would. Yeah. You got Gwenpool, you've got Zombie Head Deadpool, you got Lady Deadpool, so why not Dogpool?
It is confirmed. He will be in the movie.
Yes!
And there's a joke about the havoc it will cause for Disney Plus merch.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah. Yes, because Disney is going to put that little Disney vacuum in your pocket and try to suck every penny it can. Yep.
Nick made that sound effect. Yes, he did.
It was a bit awkward. I'm sorry.
It was more than a bit awkward. That I feel like I need to shower now. It just Wren, help me.
So speaking of Marvel, I've been off. I've taken some time off work over the past week, and I've spent a good chunk of that time playing Spider-Man 2 for the PS5. And oh my god, this game! You were sitting with me playing it. Like this game is constantly surprising me with the stuff that you can do in it. And honestly, probably the best game I played in a long time. Easily a 10 out of 10 game. Beautiful, wonderful graphics, great story, and Tony Todd as the voice of Venom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Candyman himself.
Yeah, it is great. It is so awesome.
I love Tony Todd's baritone voice. I mean, first of all, he's a very nice man. Met him Niagara Falls Comic Con with Candyman. He's just a wonderful guy. And, back in the days before CGI, those bees coming out of his mouth in Candyman were real bees.
I wonder how many times he actually got stung.
I don't know. It'd be something to ask, but I mean, it's like that is your commitment, like that. Talk about committed actors. So I mean, like, yeah, he is like the sort of the unsung upper echelons of the boogeymen, and he deserves a lot more credit than he's gotten. But just an iconic character and actor, and great voice. Just one of those really rich voices like James Earl Jones has.
Plays a great Klingon too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's kind of funny how you have those actors like Tony Todd, like Jeffrey Combs, who are incredibly well known in the horror community for their roles, but also incredibly well known in Star Trek for their roles as well. It's kind of neat seeing that kind of intersect,
So along with the MCU news, started watching Loki. First of all, let's go back in time to when the Avengers started, the whole MCU craze as we know it now. Tom Hiddleston actually had auditioned for the role of Thor.
Yeah, right.
Cannot see that for the life of me.
Have you seen the video of it?
I have seen the video of it.
No.
And I'm just like, this was a wise choice, casting Chris Hemsworth, but a wiser choice taking Hiddleston and saying, you know what, you're a dumpster fire of a Thor, but you would make a great Loki.
It does happen though. Like just thinking back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Charisma Carpenter, who played Cordelia, the mean girl, had actually auditioned for Buffy, but Joss Whedon was like, okay, you're not going to work as Buffy, but we got another role we think will work. Yeah.
And sometimes that does happen for the better. I have to say, the acting is good. I mean, Owen Wilson's always good, and Tom Hiddleston's good. And this season they've added Ke Huy Quan, recent Academy Award winner for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Short Round, as we all know him from the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He's my new favorite character. I love watching him play. I think he's the best thing about season 2 so far, playing Obi, this techno guy that is helping them.
The techno mage.
And it's really interesting too, because it is tying into that Everything Everywhere All at Once kind of
thing. The whole multiverse thing.
Yeah, right? But I have to say I am so tired of the multiverse timeline storyline. I'm over it. I'm watching it. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's particularly exceptional.
This is my thing. I was sitting there watching this. I pieced out halfway through the second episode because I'm like, is this actually bad, or am I just tired of it? Because I was super excited for Loki season 2.
You're tired of it. I can honestly say you're tired of it, because here's the thing. When I start analyzing the acting and I start analyzing the production values of it, I think we're just tired of this storyline. It's a storyline that got old real fast.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that same je ne sais quoi of building up to Thanos appearing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a storyline that, because it's into Disney Plus and their TV series and the movies and wherever else, it's just one of those things where it's like, I can't follow it easily because I don't want to follow all of the shows necessarily. Yeah. Whereas when WandaVision came out, it came out at the right time because it's like, we can't go out of our homes.
Yeah.
So that was brilliant in 2020 when we were all in lockdown to have these kind of shows on Disney Plus and to make these things. So we were like, okay, we're in the dessert phase of the Marvel storyline, the MCU. But because we got back into theaters and we were given Phase 4, as you and I have called it, I think people have just pieced out on the Marvel brand.
I think so too.
You know, because I'm not sure of this. The Marvels hasn't done well at the box office.
I haven't looked at the box office yet.
No.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Jim Cornette has a saying: "How can we miss you if you don't go away?"
Yeah.
And typically that's, you know, a wrestler going to another territory or someone getting injured or whatever. Right. But in the case of the MCU, maybe we need some time either away from the characters that we're used to seeing or just some time away from it, period.
Yeah.
Because what was special about it no longer is.
Right.
And now it's oversaturated because, hey, Disney, and it is all over the place. And I'm not digging it anymore. Not the way that I used to.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Disney and things that have not gone away in our cultural zeitgeist, that brings us to our main topic. And it is a cute one. It is an adorable one. It is one that I personally like, that I know you guys like, that I know our audience is going to like. If you had told me when we started this podcast that we would dedicate an episode to this topic, I would have looked at you funny. And yet it just is that spark of genius for us. Yes, folks, we are talking about the one, the only, legendary Winnie the Pooh. So, I mean, what is more iconic than Winnie the Pooh? I mean, honestly, he's really a huge property, mostly thanks to Disney, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I know that a lot of people probably don't realize that Winnie the Pooh was an actual bear.
Yeah.
Like a real live bear. And Canadian.
Yeah.
Hello. So I've got that history, and I want people to understand the history of Winnie the Pooh and then how he became this huge cultural phenomenon. Now, the first thing that we have to understand is that Winnie the Pooh was not a boy. The actual Winnie, as it was known before he was known as Winnie the Pooh, was a bear called Winnie, and it's a female bear cub. Female bear cub. Winnie was purchased in White River, Ontario by a soldier named Harry Colburn. This is going back into World War I. So, I mean, we've just had Remembrance Day here in Canada and Veterans Day in the States. So it's completely appropriate that we're talking about this right now, where Harry saw this bear cub for sale at this train station in White River, Ontario, paid $20 for her, which is like the equivalent of $450 now in today's money. So, I mean, not that we're, condoning the trafficking of animals, but Harry was not only a soldier, but he was also a veterinarian. So he just, purchased this bear and took the bear with him. So he named the bear Winnipeg, Winnie for short, because he was from Winnipeg, right? So that's how we get the name Winnie. Winnie quickly became the mascot for his troop, and when he went overseas, like when he went everywhere with them, right? He was on the ship, the whole thing. And when he went overseas with the Canadian Infantry Brigade, Winnie goes along with them and becomes the mascot for his troop. Winnie was so tame, at this point that she was just beloved by everybody.
Yeah.
So when he is ready to ship out and actually go to war, he now has this problem. He's in London, England. He can't take Winnie with him what's he going to do? As a veterinarian, of course, he wants to make sure that Winnie is well taken care of.
Of course.
So he loans her to the London Zoo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Winnie became this huge attraction. I don't even know what the equivalent is, but people flocked to the London Zoo to see Winnie, partially because she was so tame that they could actually interact with her. You know, the children could feed her, they could ride her back, they could... But think about the size of a black bear versus the size of a child, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they could ride around on her, they could feed her, they could interact with her, and she was just this gentle creature.
I don't know if they have black bears in England either, so that would be another thing.
No, I mean, well, exactly. You know, it's like, hey, listen, come see the Canadian bear named Winnie.
Yeah.
But it was just this huge, huge attraction, and everybody just loved her. They wanted to see her. It was like good for the zoo. So Harry Colburn comes home, realizes that Winnie's probably better off in the zoo. She becomes a permanent attraction there for the zoo goers. One of the people that became enchanted with Winnie is a little boy by the name of Christopher Robin.
Ah.
Christopher Robin is the son of A.A. Milne, who wrote stories about Winnie the Pooh. Mm-hmm. So Christopher Robin was enchanted with Winnie, has a stuffed bear, probably purchased at the zoo, can't say for sure, names it Winnie the Pooh, named after Winnie the bear, and a black swan that was the pet of a friend of his that was called Pooh.
Oh!
So he just names his teddy bear Winnie the Pooh. And A.A. Milne sits there and goes, I'm gonna write some stories about the 100-acre woods, and we get it all. And so you can actually go, I think there's a display somewhere in England where you can go and see the actual toys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like these are all like stuff, they're all stuffies, right? So you can see the stuffy Eeyore, you can see the stuffy Tigger, you can see the stuffy Piglet, and like... because those were the big toys back in that era. Like, you know, there were no video games, there were no... I don't even know if there were a whole lot of board games outside of chess, checkers, and Parcheesi, maybe.
They had a lot of card games, and there was the beginning of board games around that
like those metal toys that you get tinnitus from.
Oh, yeah, those were huge.
Tetanus,
yeah, get your tetanus shot for Christmas, kids. Yay! But anyway, so then we sort of fast forward, these stories sort of become beloved. I don't know when Disney started getting a penchant for British stories, but I don't know that Winnie the Pooh would have continued on into our cultural zeitgeist had it not been for Walt Disney and the cartoons.
I think, if anything, Winnie the Pooh would have kind of gone with, like, the Just So stories, where it's kind of one of those, some people know of them, and they know, you know, the, like, how the elephant got its trunk and stuff, but they don't know the actual story.
Mm-hmm. And the great thing, too, is that if you want to find it, there is a movie that the CBC made about the actual history with Harry Colburn and everything. And it's called A Bear Named Winnie or something like that. Yep. So you can look that up if you want to try and see that movie. But, I mean, we see this sort of catapulting, not only in the animation, but I think Winnie the Pooh, in terms of Disney, has almost become, in a way, bigger than Mickey Mouse, because you have, first of all, the original cartoon, right? But then you have spin-off movies, right? Yeah. There was they did a sequel to that original cartoon. They did the Tigger movie. Then there was a TV series or something like that. And
there were several movies, like something about Heffalumps and all sorts of different things.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
You gotta watch out for the Heffalumps.
I don't know if I can agree that he's bigger than Mickey Mouse, but he's definitely synonymous with Disney.
Yeah.
The same way that Mickey Mouse is. Probably to the same level that Mickey Mouse is, because when I think of Disney cartoons, like their characters, obviously Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, all that stuff, but then of course Winnie the Pooh.
But Mickey Mouse is more their mascot, and Mickey built it. And that's why he's there. But Mickey has never had a big screen movie.
That's true.
It's always been shorts.
Yeah.
Animated shorts, right? So I don't know why Disney never made a Mickey Mouse big screen movie. That's kind of weird, don't you think? But anyway, we're talking about Winnie the Pooh, that snappy dresser who wears no pants.
Yeah.
That's also a trend in Disney.
The most famous pantless party goer.
Next to Donald Duck.
Yep.
But I mean, it's just, I don't think there's anybody that hasn't been touched by Winnie the Pooh. And funny antidote here. When I was in my 20s and I had my group of friends that I was hanging out with, and no shade, guys, don't come for me. I appreciated what you guys did for me. I honestly did. But I mentioned that I loved Winnie the Pooh. Now, back in the 90s, you could get character ties and clothes with the characters on them, right? So I still have it. I bought this jean shirt that had Winnie the Pooh on it, little emblem.
Uh-huh.
I bought ties that had Winnie the Pooh on it because I loved Winnie the Pooh. I thought it was great. Well, my friends said, oh, John loves Winnie the Pooh. Let's give him a bunch of Winnie the Pooh crap for his birthday, for Christmas items. I got all kinds of things that I just kind of went, wow, you guys are now making me hate Winnie the Pooh. Because like this was just stuff that was like, this is appropriate for children, not for me. Like I'm not that kind of a person. Like you are a massive collector. Mm-hmm. I am not that person that wants all of the things surrounding me. Like I'm very judicious in the things that I choose, to have. So when they started getting married and having children, I'm like, here is it all back. Now the Winnie the Pooh body pillow came in handy. I will give you that. But I mean, I finally had sort of lost my poo, if you will, when one of my friends gave me this little pewter pin. I was like, that's something you give a little girl, dude. Like, it's not something you give to a full-grown adult. Now, friends of the era, I appreciate it. It was thoughtful. It was lovely. But man.
But there's the thing though. Like when you look, again, it's Disney. So they are going to oversaturate the poo out of something until they make all of the money. And that's the thing. Like looking back at the 90s, there was Winnie the Pooh everything. Yeah, the clothes, stuffed toys, cookie jars. Cookie jars that said honey on it.
Because the second movie came out in the 90s.
Yeah, you're right, yeah. It's pretty, and of course, the cartoons and whatnot, but like the merchandise was everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
But it wasn't just that. I mean, there was the books, right? Like the Tao of Pooh, and there was like all this sort of Pooh philosophies and things that you can learn from reading Winnie the Pooh. I think I have some of those books even, and quotes from Winnie the Pooh. And what I love about Winnie the Pooh is that you learn how to manage life through those characters. Mm-hmm. Winnie the Pooh never gets upset by anything. What's he do? He gets stuck in a tree and he goes, oh, bother.
Yeah.
Oh, bother. My fat ass is stuck in this tree. What am I going to do? I'm going to continue to eat the honey. That's what I'm going to do. My friends will come along and they'll yoink me out of here. Which they do. Yeah. And you see all those different personalities, from curiosity to being timid to being depressed, and they just sit there and go, oh, Eeyore's depressed. Let's include him anyway.
One of my favorite things is Eeyore is voiced by Peter Cullen. Also voice Optimus Prime. That just kills me.
What always kills me is you will find a way to slip Peter Cullen into every conversation.
Absolutely. The mustache man must never be forgotten.
Who is your favorite Winnie the Pooh character?
Oh, Eeyore. Honestly, I've always loved Eeyore. I think he's so droll, and just his depressed remarks, and it just comes off as a bit sarcastic sometimes.
I know. It does, because it's almost like he sits there and he'll say things like, I'll make something up. It's like, yeah, I'm not available on Friday, but maybe I'm available on Saturday. Not that anyone cares.
Yeah, I just love his reaction.
Or something like that. And then you got Piglet on the other, and he's like, well, and then Rabbit is just like, I hate all of you. Every single one of you, I hate you. But you know what? That's okay. I'm just a nasty, crotchety rabbit, and y'all like me anyway.
So who's your favorite?
Oh, Pooh.
Of course.
Like I'm sorry, Winnie the Pooh is just so chill. It's almost like there's like THC in his honey or something. It's like, oh yeah, this is great. The bees have made honey out of the chill pot plant over there. Because he just walks around like, oh bother. And like even when he's like in peril, he's just like, I'm just a little black rain cloud. He doesn't care. Whatever he's doing. He's like, I'm gonna get that, honey.
Yeah, he's definitely very food motivated.
And he looks in the mirror and goes, oh look, today I've gotten fat. I must do some exercises.
And he tries, he tries to touch his toe, bend over, touch his toes, and just, oh my God.
I mean, he just can't help it. He's just chill, And then Kanga and Rue's like, I don't know where Mr. Kanga is, but, you got a single mom there, and they're all like, hey, okay, single mom, we don't care. Let's help her out. And whatever. And then you have Christopher Robin, who's just like, I don't know what to do with any of you, because I'm going to grow up eventually, leave you behind. Then Ewan McGregor will play me, and it'll be...
And then you'll go on a killing spree.
Yeah, it'll be kind of awkward. Speaking of which, I mean, this speaks to the whole zeitgeist of it, where back in the early days of the internet, there was someone had written a short story. It was almost like Stephen King had written Winnie the Pooh.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this whole thing about... It was called Winnie the Pooh Goes Ape. And... he kills everybody in the 100-Acre Woods. He gets into some cocaine or something. I don't know what it is.
Cocaine bear?
Cocaine bear. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be funny to see, like, a meme with Winnie the Pooh with coke on his nose?
Oh, I'm sure it's out there already.
Cocaine bear. That would be hilarious.
That makes a lot of sense now, though. The THC in Winnie the Pooh. Because we want to be chill, just like Winnie the Pooh. But we can't, so we have to, like, smoke weed or something to be that chill.
A whole generation raised on Winnie the Pooh.
My life makes sense now.
I know. It's like, here's a character that's depressed. Here's a character that isn't depressed.
We're all depressed. We all don't just do whatever we want to do. And now we just want to be chill.
I want to be more like Winnie the Pooh. I really do. Because I'm probably more like Eeyore. We're probably all more like Eeyore, but... I want to be more like Winnie the Pooh. I just want to sit there and like, get a smackerling of honey and
all you do is eat. Oh my God.
And have my hyper friend worry about heffalumps and...
Well, there's the thing. There's that internet fan theory, right? That like all of the animals are just different aspects of Christopher Robin's psyche or personality.
Yeah.
So Christopher Robin needs Ritalin because like...
Yes.
Tigger, like clearly, I mean, that is a hyper... ADHD-ridden, somewhere on the spectrum character. I mean, that guy is just he is the complete opposite of Eeyore.
That's a whole thing that we could get into sometime. Is what each character represents, like for mental illness.
Yeah,
because like there's OCD, there's anxiety, there's depression, there's the ADHD, and. Like, that's partly why a lot of people look at it. And I'm sure it's used, like, Winnie the Pooh is used for kids to describe their feelings. Yeah. But now the movie Inside Out is used for that same thing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But that's, ooh.
But, the wonderful thing about Tiggers is that Tigger's a wonderful thing.
I thought the wonderful thing about Tiggers is that Tiggers need Ritalin, too.
No, the wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are a wonderful thing.
Because their tops are made out of rubber
and the bottoms are made out of spring.
Bouncy, 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 fun, 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 fun.
And the most wonderful thing about Tiggers is, I'm the only one!
Wow.
There can be only one, apparently.
Well, there's only one of each of them. That's true. That's the interesting thing, right?
The 100-Acre Wood is a...
it's a track. You got to go through some... Like, you got to go through, like, the Mordor and the Mount Doom to get to the 100-Acre Woods.
Or Northern Ontario. But, like, it's a very sparsely populated place as well. Like Northern Ontario.
But I think it's great, though, that when they did They're like, okay, we're going to do a live action movie. It's like, I like the fact that they took that and said, we're not going to go and do the cartoons. We're going to revisit Christopher Robin as an adult.
Yeah.
Because how many of us have forgotten those childhood things or put childish things away, right?
Especially because they just did Toy Story 3, was it? Where he had to give all of his toys away?
4.
Yeah.
Sorry, whichever Toy Story it is. Where he had to give all the toys away and then they come out with that. And
yeah.
My childhood's sad.
Well, oh, slide in the chill honey juice over to
Chill honey juice.
But, like we were talking about how in the early days of the internet, there was that that short story somebody wrote that was like Stephen King. Winnie the Pooh goes ape crap and basically kills everybody in the 100-acre woods with glee, I might add. But it's not the only horror sort of iteration of Winnie the Pooh. Recently, but was it this year? I think
it was earlier this year.
Earlier this year.
In the winter of this year.
Blood and Honey came out. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And Nick, you had a special interview.
I did. Before we talk about the interview, I'm just going to talk about the movie a little bit first. So, yeah, the whole idea behind Blood and Honey is Christopher Robin has grown up and he's left the 100-acre woods, and Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too. Well, actually, Tigger's never mentioned in this movie, but anyway. Winnie the Pooh, Piglet.
He is, though.
Is he?
Because in the scene in the cave, so the Winnie the Pooh creatures are kind of like supernatural creatures that Christopher Robin has been keeping at bay.
Yeah.
And then...
That makes so much sense
when
now.
he goes off to college, they're like, oh, he's not bringing us food anymore. We're not, we have to go out and find our own. And they're all mentioned because they're all in that drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Eeyore's finally mentioned.
Eeyore gets eaten.
Yeah.
Spoiler!
The movie's a year old.
It doesn't matter. If you haven't seen it, it's still a spoiler. I haven't seen it.
So it's an interesting film because on the outside, it looks like it's played straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the humor in it, the weirdness of it comes in the pure absurdity that it's Pooh and Piglet committing these atrocities. And Pooh is brutal in this film.
As he would be.
The brutality in his kills would give Jason a run for his money.
Oh, yeah.
Like when dude does not get his chill honey juice, of course he's going to go crazy.
Exactly.
There's some creative kills in that movie.
Okay, well, I got to see this.
You do.
It's good.
Yeah, you do.
Go in thinking that you're just going in for a fun movie.
Yeah, of course.
Then, yep.
Yeah.
That's the only way to approach any movie except Oppenheimer.
Oh,
I mean, you
no. Too soon.
Quick sidebar. Fullman Productions is doing a Barbenheimer movie. So that's a thing. Anyway. So yeah, as you mentioned, special interview. I had the chance and the absolute pleasure of talking to Andrew Scott Bell, the multi-award winning composer of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Cool.
And I got to talk to him about how he put the score together, his inspiration from it. He had a lot of really great things to say about not just the putting the score together on a technical aspect, but the creativity that went into it and how it really, and believe me, like when you sit down and listen to the score, it is a really good score, and it really does fit this absurd but still kind of hinging on realistic world of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
All right, well, let's give that interview a listen.
All right. We have the man behind the music of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Mr. Andrew Scott Bell. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Bell. Welcome to Area 51.5 and welcome to the landing pad.
It is my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Before we went on the air here, I did mention I rewatched the film last night just to get a better feel for the score. And man, it's a killer score. It really is.
Thank
It
you.
works.
I
It
guess
works.
pun intended, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It works so well for the movie. Very intense, and it had some elements that were. I kind of felt like it was. You were taking a score for a children's movie and twisting it,
Yeah.
really twisting it, because there's like those playful little piano bits and chords and whatnot, and then it
Yeah.
just goes right into dun dun, like the really heavy stuff. And I thought that was so amazing.
Yeah, thank you. That we kind of talked about that, like first of all, staying far away from anything Disney related. So
Yeah.
we just kind of, Reese and I, the director and I, just kind of talked a little bit about like what if we were making our, for the opening animation specifically, like what if we were making our own Winnie the Pooh story? What kind of musical, what kind of fantasy elements would we write? And we came up with this, this motif that um, is a little bit like, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but there's this theory that John Williams sings the new movie titles and stuff about the movies when he's writing the themes. It's never been confirmed, and I don't think it's necessarily true, but it's fun to me. Like Star Wars, these are the Star Wars, or da 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 Superman. Like that
Yeah.
Superman theme sounds like the way that somebody would pronounce the syllables Superman.
Yeah.
Superman. Da 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 da. So I've always wanted to do that, and we kind of did that a little bit with Winnie the Pooh. We did a Winnie the Pooh. Here it is right here. Oh no. Here it is right here. I lied to you twice. It's coming right here. Right here. And then so I had a lot of fun with that, and then it just twisting it in like darker scenes, like in low choir, for example, with low strings. But it still always is a Winnie the Pooh horror movie, so there's still gonna be a little bit of playfulness in the music and this kind of fantasy element to what's going on until more is revealed. And we just had a delight. We had a lot of fun, kind of, obviously playing to the horror of the film. It's like you said, it's a big gore fest.
Yeah.
And that's super fun. These big, huge orchestral hits and stuff like that. But not forgetting that this is like, in a really messed up way, a relationship between Christopher and Pooh. Yeah. Even though we don't get to explore that as much in this one, we're definitely diving more into that in the sequel. So
well, and that's kind of the thing, and that's why it fits so well with your score, because there is that conflict between childhood and the trauma of adulthood, and that's where the more fantastical part of your score kind of mars with the more horrifying part of your score. It's really interesting. I really, really love that kind of thing.
Thank you.
One of the bits that really made me go, oh wow, was the blood, Christopher Robin's blood shower scene with the chanting that your music was doing.
Yeah, thank you. Let me find that. That one is on the soundtrack called Silly Old Bear, I think.
You're kidding me.
About. I get so many questions about what the words are, because people hear the funniest things. They hear like, they hear such strange words, mostly in English. But the one of the first ideas that Reese and I had together, where we were just talking, is, we were talking about, because what I think our goal was for this movie and the next movie, and just like the sense of humor that Reese has is like less about jokes and more about like the ridiculousness of the situation. Like,
Yeah.
isn't it hysterical that like we're treating Winnie the Pooh as if he's Jason Voorhees, or Michael Myers, and that alone is funny to him. And so we were always trying to find ways to like use how we are taking it seriously as a tool for humor. And I think a lot of people confuse that as like we were making a serious movie, but we were actually making, it seemed obvious to me and everyone working on it that we were making a serious play at the subject matter in an attempt to be funny through that seriousness.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more serious to me in a film score than when like a giant choir is like chanting Latin. You think about the end of like Phantom Menace, Star Wars Phantom Menace.
Yeah. That's what first popped into my mind. Yeah.
So it's so epic. It's so huge. It's so serious. It's like, I think it's not Latin. I think they're singing Sanskrit, but it's still just, or The Omen by the film composer Jerry Goldsmith, singing Latin for that iconic film. And we thought it would just be hysterical if we had a choir singing in Latin like that, like this holy, big, massive sound. But then when you translate the Latin, it's just the words blood and honey. So that's what you hear in this soundtrack. I think we might, if we go the choir direction, we might take it further and translate different sentences and more complex things than just blood and honey. But throughout this first score, what you hear is sanguis et mel, which sanguis is blood, et, and then mel is honey. Sanguis et mel. And that's actually me singing like 24 different times, because we didn't have the first thing that Reese said to me when I said I'd love to have a choir doing this, wouldn't that be hysterical? He said that'd be funny, but it sounds expensive. And I said, I'll just do it myself. So it's me. Every time you hear a choir in this movie, it's me singing and layering myself, making slightly different voice versions of my voice so that they sound like other people, and then layering them together like 24 times to make this male, this kind of almost Russian men's choir,
That's amazing. I didn't even pick up on that. That is really cool that you did that. Really cool that you could do that. Now, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey is a unique property. It's a unique idea. How did you get involved in the production? Were you friends with the director? Like how did you wind up involved?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. I've just a little preface before I go in. Like, I live in Los Angeles and everybody else lives in the UK. And in Los Angeles, there's a phrase that says like Hollywood is the biggest small town in America, and that just means that like everybody eventually knows somebody who knows somebody, and everybody's connected, and your reputation is your most important thing, and it kind of gets that across. But I like to say that like Hollywood is the biggest small town in America, and the horror industry is like the biker bar on the outskirts of town. So it's like even smaller and even more intimate, and we're all like misfits and pals. And so in that biker bar, in that horror community here in Los Angeles, I started to hear whispers about like, did you hear about this Winnie the Pooh horror movie? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that? And I just thought that sounded so fun and so bombastic and so off the wall that it would be a blast to work on. So I looked up the film on IMDb. This is like the day that it was starting to trend or something on Twitter, like maybe May, I think, or something.
Yeah.
May of last year, 2022. And so I looked up on IMDb and I found the director, and I found Reese on Instagram, where because it was like just starting to go viral, he was getting like the nastiest. He was getting all trolls and anger, not yet support, right?
So I remember when the news of this movie came out and people were angry over it.
Oh, they're still angry. Yeah. It's awful. I mean, I much less than most, I think. I've gotten a few, but Reese gets several death threats like constantly.
That's
every
disgusting.
week or every month. It's terrible. But he's the type of person who kind of like laughs it off.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, he has to, I think. But he was getting these comments on his post about it, I think, that was like, you're ruining my childhood, and how dare you do this to a character that's ruining my childhood. And he just kind of was screenshotting the comments and adding them to his Instagram story and saying, and there's one thing he said, like he like wrote the text like, that's what I'm trying to do, is ruin all 7 billion children's childhoods or whatever, something like that. That's my goal, is to ruin every childhood in the world or whatever. And I thought that was so funny. So I responded to, you can reply to Instagram stories. I replied to his story and I said, can I help you with that? And with a violin emoji or something. And he thought that was funny. But then much later, I found out that, just a couple of weeks later or whatever, it might have even been the next week or something, the next couple of days, a friend of mine who I know from LA, because he bounces back between London and Los Angeles, messaged me on Instagram and he said, hey, are you going to do the Winnie the Pooh? And I was like, how did you how did you know? And it was Vince Knight, the cinematographer. He was saying, well, I filmed that movie, so I know Reese. So apparently he also put in a good word for me with Reese, but I didn't know that Vince had worked on it. He wasn't listed on the IMDb yet at that point. It was just like the Reese and Scott names and stuff like that. But that's how I came involved. A little bit of like a bold, reach out, just kind of blind sending a humorous, not like, hey, will you hire me? But like a funny way to say like, let me help you ruin childhoods. And then a word of like, thumbs up from Vince, I think went a long way to Reese to say, all right, I trust Vince that this is the guy. So.
And there's an important lesson there to take a chance and reach out to someone, because you never know, you might wind up interviewing them on a podcast at some point.
Right. I absolutely.
That, of course, was just a little bit of the interview. The rest of it can be seen on our YouTube channel. You can find us again, Area 51.5 on YouTube. Again, great interview. It was a pleasure to talk to him. And thank you again, Andrew Scott Bell, for being on the show.
Nick, thank you for that great interview with Andrew Scott Bell. Aliens, time has flown here. It has really just flown by for this episode of Winnie the Pooh at Area 51.5. Before we wrap things up, though, we have to wish our co-host and producer, Snyderman501, a happy birthday. It was his birthday on Thursday. He's getting old.
Yeah.
39.
Ugh.
Ha!
Ugh.
Fetus. Talk to me when you're over 50. Trust me, listen, everyone always complains about their age. It only gets worse.
Oh, thanks for that.
No, I remember Betty White, the great Betty White. She was on the Jay Leno show, right? And Kiefer Sutherland was on, and I think at that time Kiefer Sutherland was in his 40s. And of course, Jay Leno was in his 60s, and of course, Betty White was older than dirt. And so they were complaining about things, and Kiefer Sutherland was complaining about aches and pains or whatever being in his 40s, and Jay Leno one-ups him and sits there and goes, he says, oh, yeah, wait till you're in your 60s like I am, and he's complaining about being in his 60s. Well, then Betty White comes out, right? And she, you know how Betty White had that sweet, sarcastic way of it, and she turns, she goes, oh, Kiefer, are you 40? You're in your, oh, poor Kiefer, you're in your 40s. And Jay, you're 60? She leveled them. Having said that, that is all the time we have for this episode of Area 51.5. Nick, happy birthday to you.
Thank
and
you.
Remind our aliens how they can get a hold of us.
You can find us on You can find us on our social medias. You can find us on TikTok, X, Threads, and Instagram at the Area 51H. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube. Definitely check out YouTube for the full interview with Andrew Scott Bell. You can search for us for using Area 51.5. And of course, Patreon.
All right, aliens, this is
Wren, a.k.a. Pyre Lily.
And
Snyderman 501, Nick Snyder.
And Spooky Uncle John signing off from Area 51.5.
Chill honey juice, THC infused honey. It doesn't get any chillier than that.
For all your aches and pains and inflammation.
And if you just want to forget about the world, period.
Oh my